Welcome to Artificial Genius. Today, we're kicking off a deep dive into the dark facet of artificial intelligence (AI). As we cross up in the world of technology, it's necessary to renounce the terrible effects that come with the territory. One of the most distinguished troubles going through AI nowadays is bias and discrimination in algorithms. In this video, we'll be exploring this theme in depth and imparting options to tackle these issues. So, buckle up and get ready to discover the darkish facet of AI. The trouble with biased AI. AI has grown to be more and more built into our day-by-day lives, from social media algorithms to self-driving cars. However, one of the largest worries surrounding AI is the possibility of bias in the algorithms. When AI algorithms are educated on biased statistic sets, they can produce biased outcomes that can negatively affect people or communities. For example, facial attention software program has been proven to have extensively greater error costs for human beings with darker pores and skin tones. This kind of bias can have serious consequences, such as false arrests or wrongful convictions. In addition, to complicate matters, biased AI can be challenging to discover and correct, as the internal workings of many algorithms are complicated and opaque. This potential that it's frequently doubtful how a selection was once made or how to repair the underlying bias. So, what can we do to tackle this issue? Firstly, corporations want to take duty for the achievable biases in their algorithms. They must typically check and audit their structures for bias and be obvious about their findings. Additionally, they ought to prioritize numerous illustrations in their improvement groups to keep away from unintended biases. Secondly, researchers and policymakers ought to proceed to push for expanded transparency and the law of AI algorithms to forestall discrimination and defend susceptible communities. Discriminatory hiring practices. AI isn't simply impacting the choices made by way of algorithms, but additionally how humans are hired. Hiring algorithms are regularly designed to become aware of good candidates based totally on historic hiring data. However, these facts can be influenced by unconscious biases, ensuing in discriminatory hiring practices. For example, Amazon's AI recruitment device used to be located to have a bias towards women. The algorithm used to be educated on statistics from the preceding 10 years, which blanketed a greater proportion of male applicants, ensuing in the device favoring male candidates. This highlights the threat of relying totally on historic information to inform AI decision-making. So, how can we tackle this issue? To start, organizations have to be cautious about relying totally on AI for hiring decisions. Human oversight is indispensable to make sure that choices are no longer discriminatory. Additionally, numerous hiring groups can assist to make sure that unconscious biases are minimized. Healthcare disparities. AI is additionally being used in healthcare to diagnose ailments and supply personalized remedy plans. However, these structures can perpetuate current healthcare disparities. For example, algorithms used to predict affected person effects are much less correct for Black sufferers than for white patients. This kind of bias can have serious consequences, along with misdiagnosis, delayed treatment, and even untimely death. To tackle this issue, healthcare companies want to make sure that their AI structures are developed with the use of numerous consultant statistic sets. Additionally, AI has to be used in conjunction with human knowledge to furnish a greater complete and correct diagnosis. Reinforcing gender stereotypes. AI chatbots and voice assistants are turning into an increasing number of famous in our everyday lives. However, many of these structures have been criticized for reinforcing gender stereotypes. For example, voice assistants are frequently programmed with woman voices and reply to questions about gender-based stereotypes. This kind of programming can perpetuate hazardous stereotypes and gender bias. To fight this issue, groups have to supply extra numerous illustrations in their improvement groups to make sure that unconscious biases are minimized. Additionally, they ought to think about offering customers greater selections for personalizing the gender and voice of their AI assistants. Criminal justice machine bias. AI is more and more being used in the crook justice gadget to make choices about bail, sentencing, and parole. However, these structures have been discovered to perpetuate racial and socio-economic biases. For example, an algorithm used in Florida to predict the possibility of defendants committing a future crime used to be located to have greater error prices for Black defendants. This kind of bias can have serious consequences, consisting of wrongful convictions and longer sentences for marginalized communities. To tackle this issue, the Crook Justice Gadget wishes to make sure that its AI structures are developed with the use of numerous consultant statistics sets. Additionally, AI needs to be used in conjunction with human information to supply a greater complete and truthful decision-making process. Privacy concerns. AI algorithms require good-sized quantities of records to educate and improve. However, this information frequently consists of touchy facts about individuals, such as scientific records, economic information, and non-public preferences. This raises worries about records privacy and the workable misuse of this information. To tackle this issue, organizations need to make sure that they are complying with facts and safety guidelines and imposing robust safety measures to defend touchy information. Additionally, people ought to be knowledgeable and empowered to manage their records and how it is used. Lack of variety in AI development. The lack of range in the improvement of AI algorithms is a fundamental contributor to the bias and discrimination in these systems. Research has proven that various groups produce greater correct and honest results, but the tech enterprise stays predominantly white and male. To tackle this issue, corporations have to prioritize range and inclusion in their hiring practices and actively work to create a greater inclusive work environment. Additionally, academic packages have to focal point on encouraging underrepresented organizations to pursue careers in technology. The significance of moral considerations. As AI will become more and more built-in into our day-by-day lives, it's necessary to think about the moral implications of these systems. The selections made using AI algorithms can have a big influence on persons and communities, and these structures need to be designed and used ethically. To tackle this issue, organizations need to prioritize moral issues in the improvement and implementation of AI systems. This consists of transparency in decision-making, knowledgeable consent, and accountability for the effect on these systems. Solutions to tackle bias and discrimination in AI. Several options can be carried out to tackle bias and discrimination in AI. These include regular checking out and auditing of algorithms for bias, increased transparency and law of AI algorithms, diverse illustration in AI improvement teams, human oversight of AI decision-making, use of various consultant records units in AI development, prioritization of moral concerns in AI improvement and implementation. The dark aspect of AI is a complicated and multifaceted issue. Bias and discrimination in algorithms can have serious consequences, together with perpetuating present inequalities and harming susceptible communities. However, some options can be applied to address these problems and create a greater inclusive and equitable future for AI. As we move forward in the world of technology, we must prioritize the ethical considerations of AI and work to create systems that are fair and just for all. Thank you for joining us today on Artificial Genius, and we look forward to continuing this conversation with you.